Hello viewers, 4DIYers here with another video for everyone. In this particular video here I'll be showing you how to debadge or remove emblems on your vehicle. For this I'm using my 2006 Dodge Ram as an example. I prefer having the cleaner look with minimal emblems, so I'll be removing the badging on the front fenders and tailgate. This was an old video produced back in 2011. This will be an improved version providing more examples and covering any previously asked questions. It's always a good idea to inspect around your emblems first to determine if someone has done a cheap paint job where the emblem was taped off instead of being removed and replaced. Unfortunately, this was the case with my driver's door, so this badging will stay in place until I decide to have the truck repainted. Other emblems may have alignment pins on the back side. An example of this would be on Ford Rangers with the fender badging. The pins in the rear have been broken off, but you can see their locations. Typically, the larger solid badges do have alignment pins, but this can vary between vehicles. It's best to do an online search, ask around on car communities, search replacement panels for the holes, search replacement emblems, or try to view in the backside of the panel if possible. First is making sure the paint is clean, so give the vehicle a wash. Any dirt on the paint may get caught up in between the emblem or contaminate the polishing process, potentially leaving paint damage behind. Now using a heat gun, here I'm using my OEM Tools version, model number 24498. I have produced a review on this in the past and use this heat gun in a variety of tutorial videos. 2 heat settings and neatly packed in a case, it's great for any DIYer or professional in the field. Heat up the badge so it's hot, but not uncomfortable to touch. The adhesive must be heated up enough to make it easily removable, either by hand or using fishing line or dental floss. For the first example, I'll be doing this by hand, and I'll show you the other method in a moment. Usually you can feel when the emblem is ready to be removed, as it will have some movement when wiggling. A hairdryer can also be used, however it does take longer to heat up. It's not necessarily a good idea to remove the emblem without any heat, as it may pull up the paint. This can be even more of an issue if your vehicle has been repainted in the past. Once removed, you may have a double-sided foam adhesive left over. The surface can be reheated so it's comfortable to touch, then roll it off with your finger. I continued the same process on the X portion of the badge. First was heating up the emblem, and finally was heating up the adhesive backer, then it's rolled off with my finger. Now using fishing line. As mentioned earlier, dental floss can also be used, but it's not as durable, so it may break often. Have enough where you can grab onto the line comfortably, and it can slip in behind the emblem. This is only 8-pound test line. Heat up the emblem just like before where it's hot, but still comfortable to touch. Slip the fishing line in behind the adhesive and paint. I prefer to start at the corner and slowly saw away at the adhesive. The line is made of nylon, so the risk of damaging the paint is very minimal as long as you're careful. When most of the adhesive has been cut, you can pull it off by hand. These emblems are plastic and can break when too much pressure is used, which is what happened with the SLT emblem. So be mindful of that if you plan on keeping the emblems or reusing them. If you plan on replacing the emblem and you'd like to keep the factory placement, I applied pieces of tape far enough away from the emblem where I have enough room to polish the surrounding area. Next, I have an alignment laser which is used for household applications. This is set up on a stand, but you can use anything which gives you the correct height. 4 points are marked using a fine tip pen. The laser can be aligned on these 4 points after. Now is removing the emblem. Use the heat gun to warm the adhesive. The fishing line is used here again to cut away the adhesive layer. Sometimes this adhesive can stick back down or cause binding issues on the fishing line, so a nylon trim tool can be used to hold the emblem away from the surface. And finally pull off the badge. Roll off the old adhesive. If any adhesive residue is left behind, use rubbing alcohol and a clean cloth. A slightly more aggressive solvent that can be used is a wax and grease remover, or WD-40 also works too. If you are using WD-40, this will leave a residue behind that will need to be sufficiently cleaned, otherwise it can cause adhesion issues for a new badge. Depending on how long that badge was in place and what your paint was exposed to, this can leave ghosting, which is basically an outline of where the emblem used to be. In order to overcome this, a polishing compound can be used. In an extreme situation where you may find baked on material around the emblem area, a clay bar can be used, and I do have a video on this too. I've already used a clay bar in the past, so polishing compound should be fine here. This is a small area which can be easily done by hand. A machine polisher can also be used too. For this I'm using Meguiar's M205. Apply a small amount to the cloth and work it onto the surface. As for the emblem, if you were to replace it, here's a laser setup I'm using. The horizontal and vertical lines can be referenced with the 4 pen marks, and you'll have the exact location. Locations for emblems can be found through manufacturer specifications as well. Instead of a laser, tape can also be positioned next to the emblem or further away, and then a ruler can be used. Next is cleaning the other areas. First is removing what's left of the adhesive backer. Here's a close-up angle of the glue residue and dust outline left behind from the old emblem. Then using a wax and grease remover to remove any residue. If you were to replace the adhesive on your original emblems, a double-faced automotive-grade foam tape would be used, and you'll be required to cut it to size. Depending on the paint color or severity of ghosting, sometimes you can use a flashlight to show the outline of the emblem, and this can help during the polishing process to make sure that outline is completely removed. And finally is polishing the surface. With this being a small area, I find a machine polisher really isn't needed. If you were to install a new emblem, the surface would need to be cleaned either by using a wax and grease remover or isopropyl alcohol. This would ensure the oil from your skin, polish, or anything else which can cause adhesion issues is removed. When done, it'll be as if the badge was never there. Considering the paint is bare, follow up with some sort of paint protection such as a wax or sealant. Follow the product's instructions. Application processes will vary depending on what you're using. And here's a before and after comparison. New videos are released every week on my channel. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It's a huge help to me, and leave a comment below if you found this tutorial helpful. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to also hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching.